Before this episode of Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast, I just want to let you know of a way you could support the pod and gain access to all kinds of free episodes and be ahead from the free feed. You can go to patreon.com/delphinpod, DELFINPOD, and for as little as $1, you can listen to all kinds of episodes, Marvel-related episodes, Star Wars-related episodes, exclusive stuff like a movie trivia game that we have there, and you get to know you're helping us out, helping out your favorite pod. All right, without further ado, let's get some vampires. Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. This season, we're not talking about the MCU because there are no new MCU movies for a time.
MCU,
but we are talking about non-MCU movies, and we're talking about one of, I would say, the cult favorites, and that is Guillermo Del Toro's Blade 2 sequel to the Wesley Snipes led Vampire Hunter Marvel comic book adaptation.
Movie.
That's a long sentence.
Yeah, I know.
My name's Emmanuel.
Hey, what it is? It's Andrew.
Hey, I'm John.
Are you guys interested in vampires?
No.
They're very well, because it's funny. We had a discussion.
That's probably my least favorite, quote unquote monster.
We all saw The Invisible Man and how it was a reimagining of a classic source material or something that was.
I couldn't see I couldn't see The Invisible Man.
Well, and we thought it was something that seemed dated, and so it was a really cool retelling of the story. And so we kind of talked about it in a conversation, like which one would you do, and which Universal movie monster would you come up with?
Kasuma is doing like Dracula now, I think.
Yeah, and
Blumhouse.
I always think that vampires is just tough because it's overdone. Like it's been overdone to death.
It's a classic monster.
Well, even with
funny vampires with What We Do in the Shadows, sexy vampires with Twilight and True Blood.
Yeah, True Blood and
the gory vampire we've seen.
Yeah, 30 Days of Night, and you've had obviously Bram Stoker's Gary Oldman and Bela Lugosi, and the list goes. Van Helsing, remember with Hugh Jackman?
Oh yeah, and CGI vampires.
Yeah, and there's just so many that Interview with the Vampire,
Nosferatu, the OG.
Yeah, exactly. And so none of us wanted to do Dracula.
Yeah,
we all said something else because of how just weird they are, and because all of all of them get bit by something?
They're humans
too. The wolf gets bit by something. The vampires get bit by something.
They're just humans, really. Like just bad guys.
The strain also.
The strain's vampires.
But you can totally tell.
I Am Legend, kind of. Again, not really.
We may be projecting this because the production history that I found on this, which wasn't much because I didn't really look for much, but like it wasn't
shots fired.
Well, no, it's just I think vampires, like if we're connecting it to, I mean, in the Del Toro sense, like because Del Toro does have some vampiric stories. You can tell he loves them.
Yeah, he likes vampires.
They're classic monsters in a romantic sense, like Bram Stoker's Dracula and stuff like that. And Del Toro's first movie, Kronos, is about vampirism. It's a very different take on vampirism. That's why I kind of like that movie as a vampire movie. It's a very different take on vampires. He also co-wrote The Strain, the Strain series of books.
Yeah.
There's three books of The Strain, which was eventually adapted into a television series, which also has some very familiar looking vampires, I would say. So vampires to me, as a kid, I thought they were horrifying. Like, I would not want to watch a movie with vampires, because vampires seem to be kind of like above any other monster. They're kind of like more animalistic and monstrous.
They have sharp teeth. They literally bite you,
and manic almost in a way. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like always have wide eyes, and they're always hissing at you. You
know why I was scared of them was because of all the sex they were having. I was like, oh, there's probably STDs all over their little orgies.
Yeah, see, like it's always everything in vampirism is kind of like. It's almost like sexual in nature, right? In a way, sort of. Because
John, I'm liking what you're laying down, baby.
Well, like even stuff that I'm trying to think of a lot of. I'm now realizing I don't I'm not very well versed in vampiric shit. I guess now, like I'm just thinking about it.
You got garlic. You got silver bullets.
Well, no,
you got
'cause-
orgies.
I was telling John, I said silver bullets are a werewolf thing.
I
Isn't
was
it?
trying to bring back. I don't know. I need to check on
think
that.
it's both.
I think it's
No,
both. Yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure because there was
I don't know if it's a
the
sure
wooden
thing.
stakes to the heart. That was
That's for
vampires.
sure, yeah.
Well, but that's again like there's
Holy
probably
water
other stuff.
vampires.
Anything with
the sunlight
God,
vampires,
basically. Anything with Jesus
but
and
that's
God.
why I was like silver bullets. Like they would have to be blessed in
Yeah, but what about,
with
like, in
garlic
the-
and holy water.
But there's also like
or-
realistic vampire stories where like vampire is a disease and the silver still works against them, but like no crosses
know.
work.
So apparently, silver bullets technically shouldn't have an effect on them
Exactly.
in lore, but they have recently been known to kill werewolves, witches, vampires, and other monsters.
See,
I guess just
someone
because
changed the canon. I guess
I think
Someone
it's
had
just
to-
because people are like gold and silver, like that. We've used that since forever.
yeah,
and
there's
it's- I
different
don't know.
mythology apparently. And
That's weird.
Because I was gonna say like this whole
Whatever.
romantic sense of vampires, like it comes from Anne Rice and shit.
What is it?
But
What?
vampirism. No, just kidding.
You had blood.
On my nose?
No, just kidding.
But yeah. So like I don't really I don't come from a giant world of vampire stories or even vampire movies. I think some of my favorite vampire movies are like Let the Right One In and 30 Days of Night.
There's definitely horror, like the horror aspect of vampires are good. I never like the idea of just like families or I'm describing
like
Twilight.
royal-
I'm describing
They're like royalty,
Twilight,
right? Like because like if vampires like are like you think of like these pure blood esque type
they
of
can't
things. where
die.
they're like, yeah,
They've seen
exactly.
everything. It's
Yeah,
kind of weird.
Immortal.
But yeah, the part where they suck people's blood and
Suck them off.
suck them off, I think that's
Time
kind
for a
of
little sucky.
The original suck off.
fucking creepy. But
it's
let's talk
pretty
about
creepy.
Blade. So you guys have
Blade 2.
I assume that the comic books. I've never read a Blade comic book. The Blade Marvel comics, are they darker? Are they
Yes.
closer to like gory
Yes.
type?
He's what you call part of the Marvel Knights, and so
Ooh.
the Marvel Knights are a little bit more extreme heroes, like anti-heroes, also like Blade and the Punisher and Moon Knight, where they just get a little bit more violent than the rest. Good intentions, but a little bit more violent.
What is just because Blade came about from a comic book that Marvel did in the 70s called The Tomb of Dracula, where Marvel didn't want to do
Yeah.
superhero stuff. They did horror stuff.
The monsters.
Yeah, so they did horror stuff there, and so like they have Dracula, Tomb of Dracula. Dracula is literally a character in like the Marvel universe, and would basically like there'd be monster stories, horror stories, and then after a while,
Crocodile.
they would imply, they would basically implement characters from the wider Marvel universe. So Dracula would fight eventually,
So there-
Spider-Man, Howard
so
the Duck, and Blade.
In the world of Marvel, there are vampires
For sure.
There's
Monsters,
monsters,
yeah.
more monsters. or
Morbius.
whatever.
Vampire.
There's everything. Morbius the vampire, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
He's coming out later.
Oof.
He's a Spider-Man
in the
villain.
Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, and I think it's just, even Frankenstein to some extent.
Yeah,
What is it?
Frankenstein, yeah.
The Frankenstein, the werewolf, the
Yeah.
Howling Commandos.
I mean,
they're all
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah,
So-
they're all the.
Blade 2 is a sequel. So Blade the first Blade is kind of the origin, right? Story. Is that similar to his origin in the comic books?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't actually looked up that thing.
Because he's a vampire himself.
He's like always
and,
gonna have.
Marshall Ali is also going to play him in the new iteration in the MCU.
Two-time Oscar winner.
Yeah, sorry, Wesley Snipes,
Ooh.
Demolition Man. What's the other one that he was in?
What? Who? Wesley Snipes?
Yeah,
So
what is it?
Blade's mom was killed or was bitten by a vampire, and then she had Blade, and Blade was born as a half human.
He's a halfie. He's a daywalker.
Yeah, half
He's
human.
a mudblood.
A mudblood, which isn't because a lot of this movie it goes to the moodiness of the movie. It takes place at night, but that makes sense. They're vampires.
It's very super crazy, like 90s.
Yeah, 2002.
Like, oh shit!
but the
yeah.
first one was 90.
Yeah, 98.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Blade. When you were kids, what was your introduction to the Blade films? Because I was not allowed to watch these movies.
I think it was the first Blade.
I think it was my buddy Roy who was, because my brother John is 3 years older than me, and we had a friend that was 3 years older than him, and so because we were friends with his brother, and so he was kind of like the one who would like watch us and stuff like that, and so he really had access to movies like that.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
loved like heavy metal. He loved like Static X. Loved
He's a goth boy.
loved I don't want to say God stuff, but he just loved love like
Screamo. Kid.
99.5 Kiss. No, just saying. But like, and also,
it's very like, you a rocker fool? Are you a rocker?
Well, it's also the thing is, like,
it's like you like Aeon Flux, you like the Resident Evil movies. That scene where in the Matrix, he's walking through the club and rob zombies, dig through the ditches and burn through the witches of.
Which Blade? The first Blade thing I ever saw was some kind of rave where they were sucking people's blood, and there's blood.
The first one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fuck yeah, I seen them.
That's the opening scene of the first one.
And he goes in there and he fucking cleans the fucking house.
That's when the TV got turned off, and they're like, no.
Yeah, Blade is one of the more popular B characters of the Marvel universe.
He's like a fan favorite. Like I mean, I would.
And I think that the movies have something to do with that
for sure.
lot. Like I think the character of Blade was probably obviously he's been around since the 70s, but like his popularity didn't jump until Wesley Snipes played him in this first movie.
And these were successful movies. So when we talk about the MCU and the things that kind of laid the groundwork for people to continue making Marvel movies, Blade has to be in that pantheon.
Oh, definitely. I think Blade is a big
part.
Yeah, big part of that. And I think people forget that, and that's also easy to forget too, because like it's so low budget, and it's made by it's written by David Goyer and shit, and like
they're kind of in that same. They all feel the same in a weird.
They kind of yes, they kind of do. The first one and the second one kind of feel sort of similar. I think the second one has more. The one we're talking about right now, it's a little bit more stylistic.
And Blade Trinity is like.
Blade Trinity is Trinity is is weird. It's a. And because it's very much the commercialized version of this franchise.
Yeah.
Like,
it's closer to Eon Flow.
It's got Jessica Biel. Yeah. It's got Ryan Reynolds. It's got Triple H. It's got like fucking Parker Posey. Patton Oswalt. It's so like these Blade movies really skyrocketed the character, and that's the whole reason there have been recently there've always been rumblings about like, why can't you bring Wesley Snipes Blade into the franchise, because blah 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 this.
Well, people also want this sets the tone. This sets the tone for Blade, though. Like that's why people want the new Blade to be rated R and to be moody.
I don't think it's gonna happen
because all these Blade movies were like that. I think part of the reason why they have a cult following was because a lot of people weren't allowed to watch these movies until now. So now they're discovering it later because they were so violent and bloody, and I don't think they're that sexual, but they are very.
They're not too sexual. There's like sexual imagery in it, but like
I guess it depends on what gets you off.
Well, it's just as much as you would get like in the late 90s
because of the sucking.
Like,
if that's
well, and also it's like
the sucking.
Well, because the vampires have always been like super crazy, like manipulators,
and also it's always like a sexual like a thing, because vampirism means literally like to like feed off of people.
The tension, they're so much stronger than.
Remember Interview with the Vampire? Like that's a sexy ass movie, and it's a good movie. Like
this is the second movie podcast today, and we were always talking about how sexy Henry Cavill.
Hey, is he a vampire?
Tom Cruise.
He might be a vampire.
Interview with a Vampire.
That's right.
Whoa,
he's back, baby. Antonio Banderas.
Well, let's talk about Blade 2. So
seductive,
this is also
that's the word, seductive.
Yeah,
where like I have to seduce you to let me inside your house, so that I can suck on your neck.
That's another thing. They have to be invited in. Remember
I love both Fright Night movies. Those are good vampire movies.
Fright Night, underrated. Very underrated.
I don't remember
the first one, which was in the 80s, which is
Let the Right One In. I'm just kidding.
I did say Let the Right One In.
Oh shit!
And then
which version though? The American one or the
Let Me In is one of them.
Let Me In is Matt Reeves.
Yeah. Ooh. A little bit of spice.
Also, 30 Days of Night is horrifying to me. Yeah. Like, it's pretty horrifying.
For sure. It's like the running zombie.
That's the one in the snow, right?
Yeah, because like in Alaska, there is like a...
There's 30 Days of Night?
Yeah, that's so clever of a concept. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and Twilight. Let's talk about Blade 2. So Blade 2 was... What? Guillermo Del Toro.
I said you tweak.
I'm a power bottom. Everyone knows that. I'm a notorious power bottom.
Jeez.
I am a blouse. Is what they call me.
Because they just wear me.
You are a sock.
Power top. Fuck. Okay, no. Blade 2 is also a Guillermo Del Toro joint.
Guillermo Del Toro.
Somehow a good...
Of the bull.
He's a good fit for a Blade movie in some respects, don't you think?
100%.
He makes, Mimic, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy.
The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water.
I'm going to go through his filmography right now.
Okay.
There you go. En español, por favor, para que te pueda entender.
Well, I have to for this
Guillermo del Toro.
Hey, shut up. Let me talk.
You shut up.
So he has Donna Lupe. He was the director, writer, producer in 1985. Geometria.
That's a good short.
1987.
You've seen it. You want me to spoil it?
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Don't spoil it for the viewers.
You showed it to me. That's why. Kronos, 1993, writer director. Mimic, 1997, writer director.
That was Mimic.
Right, he's also writer. Yeah. I know. We'll get into that. Devil's Backbone, amazing fucking movie.
My favorite beer.
Writer, director, producer, 2001. Blade 2, 2002.
Nice.
Hellboy, writer, director, 2004. Pan's Labyrinth.
Wow, right after that, huh?
Writer, director, producer, 2006.
2 superhero movies back to back.
Wow.
Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, writer, director, 2008. Pacific Rim, writer, director, producer, 2013. Crimson Peak, writer, director, producer, 2015.
Underrated.
And it's not on this list, but Shape of Water, writer, director, producer, probably 2017.
If you like fish sticks,
Probably 27.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was 2017.
I said if you like fish sticks,
There's fish in a lot of these movies.
it's true.
A lot of fish fucking going on. Talking about Hellboy as well, because there's some mind fuck.
Well, yeah, I love that they put the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Okay,
The intro, right? The couch gag.
24? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
He did the couch.
2024.
No, I mean the 24th Treehouse of Horror episode.
I was like, what? That hasn't happened yet. It seems. I mean, we love Guillermo. He's a good guy.
The Troll Hunters series on Netflix. That's him too.
That's him. People love it. People love Troll Hunt. But so he definitely has a touch to his movies. He has
A Dead Stranding. Hideo Kojima.
The Strain.
He's great at creating like tangible feeling worlds, and not just we're talking. I mean, very literally in these monster movies, but
Like-
also just very well thought out thematic.
If there
and
was a
moody
theme park
films.
for all of his movies, I
That would
would
be
want to go
crazy.
because that would be so terrifying.
From the sick and twisted mind.
It would look like hell just opened up.
He does
Oh my
these
God.
little tours of his house, which have all these like design concepts and story Bibles and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I would love to visit that. That's awesome.
Let's go to his house right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's hop in the car.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tarantino, Del Toro. Fucking shit. No, but anyway,
But
where were we going on?
But I also feel like because this is good, this is definitely Terrence
Stamp.
This is a Del
Okay.
Toro feeling movie. But I will say that something happens in his filmmaking after Pan's Labyrinth, because Pan's Labyrinth, when it came out, was the highest grossing foreign language film, I believe, of all time, like rated R. When it came out, it was nominated for an Oscar, and I think after that movie, he got a little bit more control over the things he got to make. I don't know if you guys feel that in movies after Pan's Labyrinth, because in these, he talks about it in Mimic, he has to kind of play in the studio system, and he has to do that for Blade 2 as well, because you do feel like he didn't get to do everything that he wanted to do in Blade 2 or in Mimic, and I think he's very open about these movies being studio movies and him
Right,
trying
yeah.
to navigate
was
like
still
what
kind
he
of-
wants to do, and then the fact that they're like, oh, we need to have 20 more fight scenes because that was in the first Blade movie.
Right. Yeah. I think. But I think he adapts to it quite well. I think what you were talking about, Mimic earlier. Like every time I've seen Del Toro kind of talk about Mimic, he kind of talks bad about it. Not bad
Yeah.
so much about the movie, but the experience. So he says like, he learned to say no or something like that on Mimic because they always kept telling him to do this or do that. For these, you can totally tell he had a lot of fun. I did kind of look up what he's thought about Blade 2. He said he did not want to change the script a whole lot.
It's also David Goyer. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he
you can
didn't
change
want-
it that much.
Oh, I mean, you very highly recommended to change it, if you, in my opinion.
Wow.
But Guillermo del Toro did not want to change the script that much, and he wanted to make it look like a comic book and a Japanese anime, which I did totally get that from a lot of these sequences. Like, it does look very anime inspired because there's close-ups and there's movement in the close-ups that looks very unnatural. Like, it looks like it's a splash page, or it's like, there's like energy in the background that looks like it's about to smack someone and stuff.
There's also a lot of like lore and things that are based on honor. Like there's a family too, right? Of those original vampires, or the really who ended up being the bad guys, like the really fucked up vampires. What are they called?
The Reapers?
Not the Reapers, the older ones. The one who has the son and the. Oh, we'll look it up right now.
Oh, they're just called the vampires. Like,
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just like
They just look different than the other vampires.
yeah, the mean ones.
Yeah, the mean vampires.
But yeah, apparently, and then Del Toro's such a visualist. Like, he basically went and studied, Japanese anime, like to prep for this film, Japanese anime and source material Blade comics, and he also studied he studied the dailies, not just like the movie. He studied the dailies and also just extra footage that Stephen Norrington was the director of the first Blade movie. he studied dailies and the visual style of Norrington so that he could blend these two movies together. So you know what I mean? So he can make an actual sequel to it.
Yeah,
and
so
that's really
it
cool.
looks similar because
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
something that the MCU does now. Like at least they have like a visual guide to the MCU films,
Right, yeah.
to make them feel connected. So it's nice that he was proactive in that. 'Cause I bet you
That was his intention.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He's like he wanted to make it like it leads into the second movie, and
Yeah.
so like that's pretty cool. You still see some Del Toro-esque stuff in it. Like I feel like the lighting, like especially when he plays with color, like especially like a harsh yellow light or something, like that's totally Del Toro. Like I can, and then especially when he plays with the blues, like the way the blues are kind of like, you know, there's a fight in the church with the head Reaper guy in Blade,
Yeah.
you know, and you know you're getting all these blue tones like through the windows and stuff, and it reminded me a lot of Kronos, because Kronos is shot entirely, in my opinion, like in
It's like
cool
mood
tones.
lighting almost, yeah.
And that's what like I get from Del Toro, or at least the Del Toro-esque things, other than the design of the Reapers, because I almost guarantee you the design of the Reapers might be him. Does that make any sense? Like the way
Yeah, the way they
how
look, the way
grotesque-
they-
yeah, like so
Bald.
and the way they like they're all like, you know,
White.
yes, like
They look like
literally
Nosferatu.
all super white, and they look like, yeah, you're right, they look like a
Classic.
classic Del Toro interpretation of what a
They're
vampire should
they're
look.
not in black leather.
Let's talk about
or
the
wearing
Reapers.
sunglasses.
I'm going to go over the synopsis here of the movie. I know a lot of you have already watched this. Then we'll talk about the Reapers in full because they're basically the MacGuffin of the film.
Yeah.
But 2 blood-soaked years after Deacon Frost's nightmare plan in Blade, the indestructible half-human, half-vampire hybrid Blade finds himself in the middle of an attack as a feral strain of insatiable bloodsuckers named the Reapers feed on mortals and immortals
Vampires.
alike. Under those dire circumstances, Blade reluctantly agrees to make an uneasy pact with his eternal adversaries and lead an elite squad of vampire assassins against the mutual enemy. Can Blade avert the imminent advent of a horrifying new breed of undead predators? Question mark. I completely forgot. I mean, I didn't forget, but we definitely have to talk about those vampire assassins too, because I feel like they're all A-listers now. Not A-listers.
Donnie Yen and
Oh
Ron
my
Perlman.
God. Yeah, Ron
and
Perlman.
Tony Curran, who's in Doctor Who, he played the Vincent.
Van
Vincent
Gogh.
And Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Norman Reedus. Yeah.
Norman Reedus is in
Norman
this
Reedus. It's got a country singer in there.
Let's talk about
Chris Christopherson.
Let's talk about the Reapers first. So, what do you think about? They're the villain. There is also a lead Reaper, I guess, in an interesting way. But
Right.
what do you think about the?
I think
this
it's-
new iteration of vampire.
I think it's very stereotypic, where it's like the vampire to the vampire. Like, what do they have to fear, and like what's next is something that preys on them, and so they have
Dang.
us running scared, and stuff like that. But it's actually done pretty well. I actually enjoyed this movie way more than I thought I was going to, because I thought it was going to feel dated, which it kind of does, but in a good way. Yeah, just interesting on how they kind of toss some of that aside eventually, where
Yeah.
they're like, there's a bunch of them, and they're like, well, get rid of all of them in one fucking go.
You can still
And
kill
then-
them.
Yeah,
They're still very killable.
I mean, that was one of the scenes that I liked the most, was them trying to figure out
Yeah.
what hurt them, because they go in there and they're like, oh, it's the elite team, and like they're meant to hunt Blade and stuff, and they're picked apart so easily, and their
the
efforts
tunnel.
are just futile and
There's a
doesn't
lot
work.
of moments of this that kind of feel like that second Hellboy in the sewers and shit, looking for
Yeah.
that other monster.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Isn't that
that's
interesting?
right,
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's go down the list of the cast. I don't know if you got it, John. I have one, but I don't
I
know
love
how
that,
good it
but
is.
you're just
I'll
like-
just do it. Okay. Whistler, Chris Christopherson.
Chris
Reinhardt, Ron Perlman. Nisa Lenore Varela. She has a really big turn in this movie.
does.
Scud, Norman Reedus. Scud. Damaskinos, Thomas Kretschmann, Nomak, Luke Gloss, and the rest. Donnie Snowman, Donnie Yen, Conan, Carol. I don't know if this is going in any order. Priest, Tony Curran. Lighthammer. Rush. These are all like one-word names, but they're the elite. What did you guys think about the elite squad of vampire hunters, including Hellboy himself,
Ron
Ron Perlman, and the zombie hunter himself,
Norman Cletus. And Reedus.
I thought all of those people. I mean, I think when they went down the list. I mean, because I knew Ron Perlman was in it, but
Yeah,
like when I saw
Nipplehead.
Tony Curran. Tony Curran.
Yeah.
Tony Curran as as priest, and I was like, oh look, it's the Vincent guy, and then all of a sudden Andrew was like, is that Donnie Yen? I was like, oh shit, it is Donnie Yen.
And I knew that they were gonna want to utilize his fight skills. I was like, oh my god! Like, so he instantly started kicking.
We're one with the force. It does kind of. When I saw them, in my head I was like, oh, this is gonna be an action movie. Like, this is gonna be a.
I told you right before we started recording that in the first 30 minutes, there's like 4 fights that happen already,
and then you see new fighters. They're like, oh, here's more.
Well, at one point, it's that scene where they go in and the elite squad is trying to kill all the Reapers.
Yeah,
you don't see Blade for like 15 minutes.
Oh, it's in the club, right? Or
and so I was like telling John, like, oh fuck, I almost forgot that it was a Blade movie.
That Blade's in this movie, yeah,
because it had a whole 15-minute sequence, a fight sequence of them dealing with the Reapers and finding out that
Yeah, that's what's kind of unique about these Blade movies is they kind of remind me of zombie movies because the deaths are fun or rated R, like cutting people in half and shit. But that's something that I wouldn't think to expect in a Marvel movie. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like Perlman got cut in half before didn't he get cut straight down the middle or something?
Straight down the middle.
From the peen to the top of the
way the Reapers,
tip to taint.
The way the Reapers kill the vampires, like with that whole giant mouth that expands and stuff, like that is pretty.
It's like
awesome.
A snake where they're like, "Why do you have that line on your jaw?" And I was like, "Damn, they can tell."
Scary stuff. Like I think that's what partially what Del Toro is really good at, other than, of course, the fish sex, is his ability to have these
horrifying really,
moments. And it's something that he even play. I mean, this is one of his earlier films. I think this counts as an earlier film for Guillermo Del Toro, but he just gets better and better at it as his tenure goes on.
It's very true. Well, and the one sequence comes to mind when that big dude, that hammer dude, he gets bit and obviously he hides it from them. And Donnie Yen's in the sewers and you just see him like turned and he's behind him.
Oh, yeah, he's scary.
And I was like, ooh, scary. I like this. When's this ticking time bomb going to go off?
And there is also, and I mean, we can talk about the actual story. There's a big twist in this movie when we realize that the people that helped Blade are also the people that want him dead, or I guess who are releasing the Reapers.
Right, yeah.
And then everyone, this is actually really similar to Mission Impossible. Ron Perlman ends up being one of the bad guys at the end. Mm-hmm. What did you think about what did you think about Blade as a character in this movie? Did much happen there for you?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah. See, like, I think Blade is, again, kind of like you're watching a movie like Cobra. You know what I mean? Like, where it's just like a stoic character who's just supposed to be badass. And I know Wesley Snipes, even during this production, had a lot of control over the character. So, Del Toro wouldn't give Snipes much direction because Snipes knew what he wanted to do because he took ownership of the character.
He's been that guy.
Right, exactly. That being said, I think Snipes said that, like, he actually does have to do, he said there is some acting involved in making the character believable and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, because
he does also have this, I don't know if it's romantic or not, but he does also have, like, this connection with, the daughter of the bad guy.
Nisa.
Nisa. I was just reading too. They were supposed to have a sex scene, so there goes that sexless thing or whatever. But that's one of the biggest things is he doesn't have many personal connection.
No,
in this movie.
Doesn't have a whole lot of emotional depth either. Like as Blade, like he wears sunglasses. You can't see his eyes.
His closest friends are those the Norman Reedus and
Chris Christopherson's character. The Star is Born.
But they're mostly just friends too. Like I feel like they're just work colleagues.
Yes, they are. They're just work colleagues, and I like that. That's the source of humor because Blade is this straight faced person who just is very cocky and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As the Blade as a character, I think he's really cool. I would like to see him in a Marvel, further adventures. Mm-hmm. Even as Wesley Snipes, I know Wesley Snipes. I know we're getting Mahershala Ali as Blade in a couple of years.
He's probably going to kill it. He's going to do great.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably going to be
detective,
awesome.
and then all his Oscars and Emmys.
But I would like to see more of this in current incarnation of Blade doing more stuff. That being said, I think whenever you do get to Blade Trinity, you've kind of already done all that you needed to do.
Yeah,
and it looks like Snipes was quickly losing interest in doing this. You can totally tell.
He seems like a character in this movie, at least, where things are just happening to him. Does that make sense? Yeah, he's not really affecting much change other than like winning the fight sequences, but he is really just a witness to what's happening and then he gets in the way of it,
Right.
towards the end.
The Blade character, I don't know. I guess I'm neutral on the overall Blade character itself, though, because I don't read a whole lot of Blade stories. I know he pops in every now and then when there's a horror thing that happens in Marvel, and even when when you watch like an old Spider-Man cartoon, he will pop in because
Yeah.
I
don't know where he fits. Like,
one
it's
of his
interesting.
villains.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he interacts with Spider-Man mainly because Morbius, the living vampire, is a vampire, and so
he needs his help.
Yeah, Blade will. Yeah,
Is it in the comic books? Where is he based? New York or just everywhere?
He's all over the place. I think he is based in New York, like most of the Marvel heroes are.
Yeah.
But I think also too
Man, New York, huh? Fucked.
well the
COVID.
a fun fact about the sequel, or this movie was supposed to actually have Morbius the living vampire. I think that Goyer said that leading into the second movie, he was hoping to be Morbius would be like the supervillain of the second one.
Wow. That
ended up happening.
That is something too with the villain in this movie was a very, like, I don't want to say cookie cutter, but he was just another bad guy, the lead reaper dude. Does that make
Right.
sense? Like
sort of. It comes from a Del Toro-esque. I don't know if this is all probably just Goyer stuff. Like, but like
that's
I
true,
felt
because
like,
he doesn't even have writing credit in this movie.
Right, yeah.
Del Toro.
But the thing is, like, I still felt like, the pushing of the family drama and the way, or maybe the way it was presented to us, was very Del Toro-esque. Like, even like the way,
Yeah.
I mean, I know the designs are obviously probably Del Toro, like most likely, because when you get into the that vampire lab at the very end, the lead vampires, like, chamber is all like, red drapes and, everything's gold, and it's,
Yeah.
something looks like it's out of like, it looks like I don't want to say Victorian, but it's like,
Like gothic.
Yeah, it's like super gothic, and it's something that doesn't fit with the rest of like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that's the Del Toro bleeding through here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you see a lot of Hellboy. Like,
Yeah,
what's
definitely.
going to be
Yeah.
Hellboy? I feel like he almost uses the same sets sometimes, or the
Right.
same. This, like, I don't know. Like,
But-
it feels very connected.
But the Head Reaper, yeah, you're right, is very stereotypical villain. As soon as he accomplishes his goal
Yeah.
of like killing his father, which that goal is revealed kind of late in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He does turn, and you have the
He's like-
actual final showdown
he's
with
like-
Blade.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. And then those, cool. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to play a game, and then we'll return to talk more about Blade. Welcome back. We're about to take a break. Oh, shit. We're not about to.
We're back from the break, actually.
We're back from the break. We're here to play a really fun game. And this is a game called Wesley Snipes 2006 income tax conviction.
Jeez.
So Wesley Snipes had tax problems. He didn't claim $24 million worth of income. And so here's the game. I'm going to say some things that you can either claim to deduct on your taxes or not claim, and you guys will tell me whether it's a real claim or not. It's tax season, although COVID has pushed back the deadline to July 15th, which is great for me. But you can deduct things from your taxes. So I'm going to say some things, and you guys can tell me whether or not you think that's a real deduction, or you can't deduct that, baby. All right, cool. We're not playing buzzes or anything. If you say true,
Okay.
it's just
Go for
true.
it.
It's true or false?
True or false, baby? Ready? Breast augmentation.
True.
That's right. It is true. You both get a point. Yeah. Breast augmentation can be deductive if it's essential to your job. So strippers or
Jeez.
models, you can deduct breast augmentation.
Okay.
I can't just do it for fun.
It's a weird one to start on, but go for it.
All right,
Considering
cool.
none of us have breasts.
Sorry, I'm just going down the list. And
He's all push them together. Now you have breath.
Hey, do we talk about how sexual vampires are? Prostitution expenses.
False.
Andrew, can you deduct prostitution expenses?
True.
It's false.
Shit.
John, you got that point.
Prostitution is illegal.
Oh,
So
no,
you're
I
not
thought
supposed
you
to,
meant like if you were a prostitution worker.
So the people who worked at a cat house in Las Vegas did try to deduct taxes, and they got audited.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, that's illegal.
Pet food.
True.
True.
Yeah, you can deduct pet food. Isn't that insane? Yeah, especially if you foster pets or anything like that, you can deduct it. Drunk driving costs.
False.
You can deduct drunk driving costs. It counts as a casualty loss, even though it's your fault. It's kind of fucked up.
kinda crazy, yeah.
Swimming pools.
True.
True.
Yeah. So as long as it's for, you can deduct it as a medical expense. Interesting. Whiskey.
True. True.
No, you cannot deduct whiskey even if you are using it for business. Beer.
True.
Yeah, you can deduct beer as
But
a
not
business
whiskey.
expense, which is kind of interesting. So I feel like we're. Oh shit! Maybe I should have put a disclaimer in the beginning. We are not tax experts.
Oh, definitely not.
Whoops.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that. Don't take
Tax
this
experts.
as actual tax advice. I Googled tax deduction, and this is what I came up with. So please do not
The
follow
average
your
person
taxes.
would just do that anyway.
I know,
so.
yeah. I'm worried that people are now like, okay, I drink a lot. Let me
Yeah,
put
that's
that
true.
there.
That's true.
I
That's
got a
also
swimming
true.
pool.
Yeah, exactly.
I get cat food. All right. Private plane travel.
True. No, wait, you said
False. Private plane travel.
False. True.
You can deduct private plane travel.
I did it.
Trips to Disneyland or theme parks.
True.
Yeah, it's deductible as long as you're doing it for business.
Which, is not for us.
No, I did that.
Didn't go for business.
We're going to podcast about it, aren't
Eventually.
we, Andrew?
Yeah, hell yeah. Maybe.
Here's the last one. This one's kind of a boring game. Sorry. Oh, the loser has to do something, so that'll be fun. Can you count sperm donation as a loss?
True.
No.
Oh,
Someone
shit.
did try to count. He donated his sperm and said it was a loss because of sperm. It's a loss of sperm.
Because he lost it.
All right, let me do the total. John, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What the
Shit. Damn.
Are you sure?
Yep. And then Andrew, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, fuck me. All right, well.
I thought I got one more. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know how to do a tiebreaker here.
I think it's rock, paper, scissors.
All right, let's do rock, paper, scissors.
Rock,
Ready?
paper, scissors, go.
Ready?
Go.
3. Oh, shit, just you guys
Ready?
just do it. Go.
1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors, go.
Wow.
Boom. John is the
Andrew
loser.
won. So
Yeah, based on Emmanuel's reaction, you know that I won. Wow, because
So,
they couldn't see
what do I
us
gotta do?
play.
John.
Anal. You gotta suck on his neck. Get on there.
I know you're gonna turn me.
On.
I can't turn you loose.
Obviously,
you're already
Blade
loose.
True is one of the Blade True.
Blade True Blood.
Blade 2 is one of the most famous vampire movies, but it is not my favorite. My favorite. It's Twilight, baby. So we're going to read a scene from Twilight
great.
where you play Edward Cullen and I'll be Bella.
Do you have the right script over there for you?
Yeah, I do.
Why did you want to be Bella?
Okay, here we go. I'll be
Okay,
Bella.
so
You,
we just
you,
go- we
you
just
try
start?
to talk as him. Edward is hot, okay? So you kind of have to elude that.
Why do I get a monologue at the very end? Fucking hell.
It's also not typed correctly, so good
Oh,
luck.
really?
Yeah, the monologue has weird combined words. Hold on, let me get in character. Ready?
Good luck reading it.
Wait, hold on. Let me just do a glance real quick.
Glance.
Oh yeah, it is not typed correctly at all.
Bella Swan. I got to get in Bella Swan's
ready?
mind.
Ready?
All right, here we go.
Oh, wait, I'm trying to think of an Edward Cullen voice. You just don't belong to my world, Bella.
I belong with you.
No, you don't.
I'm coming. Oh, wait, hold on. That is the line, but let me put it in context.
That is the line.
Edward is leaving and Bella wants to go. She's not.
I was like, holy
Yeah.
fuck. I was like, this is the,
Okay, let's
this is
resume.
the
Let's resume
fanfic.
right after I'm
I
coming.
can give you another read. I'm coming.
Okay, here we go.
Let's
Ready?
resume. Okay.
All right. Bella, I don't want you to come. God damn it.
You don't want me?
No,
This changes things. All right.
but if it's not too much to ask, can you at least promise me something? Don't do anything reckless, for Charlie's sake, and I'll promise something to you in return. Sorry, this is typed really weird. This is the last time you'll ever see me. I won't come back, and you can go on with your life without any interference from me. It will be like I never existed. I promise.
Wow, the tension, the sexual tension.
That
Wow.
brought a tear to my eye. Yeah,
John
you wanna-
is kissing me on the neck right now.
Delphin, we're about to fuck after we put this out.
About to. I'm done. All right, guys. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back to talk more about Blade 2.
Later.
Welcome back from that break. Blade 2. More Blade 2. More B2B. What else do you guys want to talk about? Blade 2. Obviously, there's a lot of fight sequences. I think Andrew alluded to it early on. There are a lot of fight sequences, and that's kind of where it starts to feel like it's becoming a set piece movie where it's like, let's go to the church and fight. Let's go to the sewers and fight. That was probably my favorite fight, the sewer fight.
The sewer fight.
But I don't know. Do you think of Blade as an action movie, or do you think of it more as like a horror adventure movie?
I think it's both. I think the action kind of bleeds into it a little bit more than the horror aspect of it to me, because like I know that I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the Lionsgate or like the New Line Cinema of like, you know, like the way the aesthetic was back in the early 2000s and late 90s. Like, you get what I mean? Like Resident Evil was kind of like that too, where you kind of think it's horror, but then all of a sudden when someone pulls out a gun, like the sequence changes to just a shootout, and you're just like, wait, where the fuck did this come from?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for Blade. Like Blade has like scenes of horrific imagery where you have like, you know, vampires being killed by these reapers, and you know, these reapers' mouths are busting open, and the second tongue comes out, and it starts like, you know, basically munching on a person's neck, and it's so crazy. And then we break out into like a, you know, 5 or 6 minute scene with kung fu in it.
Yeah.
I mean, like and it's not a bad thing. I'm not like complaining, because like, you know, that's the movie, you know. But I think it definitely bleeds more into, like, I would definitely say Blade is more of an action hero than a horror.
And it may feel like, I think at the time maybe it was closer to a true horror because
of the way horror movies.
That's where horror movies were. I mean, we were talking about CGI in The Haunting movie during that time.
Right, yeah.
So maybe it's because now we see horror is very different to us, and I think we take a more cinematic, like suspenseful approach to everything.
I think you're right. I think there's definitely, I mean, I think people now are tired of cheap horror, but at the time, that's kind of all we had. In a way.
Big budget, at least in big budget sense, there's probably a lot going on, like on the indie and the indie
side.
No ticket. It's like the line I remember.
It's the only line you remember.
But yeah, I mean, I think that combined with just the overall atmosphere that Guillermo Del Toro infuses into his movies, and I think that's maybe you were talking about the lighting, and we talked about how it looks a lot like Hellboy. Even I think that's a lot of what you get when Guillermo del Toro is a master of atmosphere.
Yeah, there you go.
Creating the moods of the kind of movies. I think Crimson Peak is a great example of
that movie. Is all atmosphere.
It's all atmosphere. So I think that's definitely something that's in this movie and unique. And Wesley Snipes says I think this is his favorite movie. That he likes this more than any of his other ones.
Demolition Man.
And that makes total sense too, because like it was. I think out of the Blade movies. Out of the trilogy of them, this one technically is the strongest one. I mean, the first one has its, I guess I was gonna say its moment, but like it's really cool to have that first one because it's the first of its, the first of this trilogy, and you introduce that character, and it goes really well.
Yeah, and it's proof that the concept works.
Right, exactly, yeah. And then it's a really well made action flick back in the day. And then this one kind of just throws it up. I actually do like the twist on its head where like you're fighting a different vampire. I know it's kind of like a little cliched in a way, but like because
it's a new enemy for Blade at least.
Right, yeah. And then it's also really, it's cool to see him kind of like work with his enemies and then not really do that because the
double cross
all the time. Yeah, the double cross always happens.
And the Reaper is supposed to be Blade, right? Like it's a hybrid.
Right. It's a hybrid kind of like Blade, and that's why
it's them working towards trying to make their race like that.
Yeah. Right. Because Blade is not invincible, but he's a better version of vampire.
He doesn't have any weaknesses,
which is weird because it's kind of like complete opposite, where like the sun doesn't hurt him, but that's the only thing that hurts the Reapers.
Yeah.
Ooh. Right, yeah. And I think the Reapers in general are just a very visually pleasing villain. Like the way they look, it's a horrifying villain. It screams Del Toro at you.
Yeah. It's kind of an experiment gone awry.
Right, yeah. But also, like, I guess just the way it looks, like it adds spookiness to what was already there in the first one, because in the first one was just regular vampires with sunglasses and they all went, and then the third one,
what we do in the shadows. When we're upset. Yeah.
Colin Robinson. So yeah, and then same thing goes for the third one. The third one is literally just a movie with vampires, and all they're doing is hissing at you. And then this one is the middle of the group, and it's like it's awesome. They don't have that, or like it doesn't have a whole lot. It has vampires hissing, but it has like but it's got a bunch of other cool shit in it, and it's just awesome.
Well, the reason why they're a little more resilient, these Reapers, they have bones. Don't they have like something protecting their
organs?
Their organs. They're so
they have an autopsy scene that explains to you what makes them different,
and it's like a practical body on the couch, like the thing's fucking pounding in there.
Yeah, apparently like their body keeps eating after their head is gone.
Wow, creepy.
It's like a reverse zombie thing. Like when you're just like, oh.
I remember the scene. One of my favorite scenes in this movie too is when Blade walks out of the water. Maybe it's because we just saw Land of the Dead where the zombies walk out of the water.
It wasn't water. It was blood.
Oh yeah, the blood pool. I thought that was pretty cool too. I forget that not only does everyone betrays him. Even Scud betrays him. Do you remember that? Norman Reedus,
yes, he does.
Is also a bad guy.
Cletus. He's a familiar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's plenty of familiars in this, too.
Very familiars.
There's the older familiar. It was like, yes, hello, Mr. Blade. But, yeah. And so I guess it kind of makes Blade a little more suspicious of everyone. I don't know what I don't remember Blade Trinity, but I assume he has
Triple H.
I assume he has less friends than he's ever had in Blade Trinity. All his friends
Reynolds
are dead.
I think Whistler dies in Blade Trinity at one
Whistler?
point. Yeah. And then, but yeah, you got Ryan Reynolds, who was in his pre-Deadpool days and stuff, and then
pre-Deadpool Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, pre-Deadpool Ryan Reynolds. So pre-Deadpool, but post two guys in a pizza place.
Oh boy,
Ryan Reynolds. I love that show, by the way. Yeah, Blade 2 is a pretty great flick. I love it as a little stepping stone that Del Toro did to get to where he's at now. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome. I don't think we would have gotten most of the stuff if he hadn't made that movie.
Yeah. So, and this movie was successful. Like, just as successful as the first one, made a shit ton of money.
Might be the most successful, one would say.
Who knows until the new one? Yeah. I mean, back then, successful was $155 million. Now, successful...
You have to break like 400. Yeah, you have to be like 400 million.
So I think it's pretty successful for a time. Let's talk about the future of Blade. Obviously, we've already talked about Maher. I can't say his name. Mahershala Ali, two-time Oscar winner, and I mean,
Chitwo Ejiofor.
We're just saying hard names. Yeah. But so he is the new Blade. What do you guys think about that choice, and what do you think about the Blade in the future, and I guess being part of the MCU? Yeah,
I actually would hope they make this Blade a little. This is going to sound blasphemous because of the MCU, everything's connected, but I don't want Blade to interact with anybody just yet. Like, can we not have like a Spider-Man or anyone showing up in that first movie?
Yeah,
like I kind of want it to be as separate as what that first Doctor Strange movie was. You know what I mean? Like how very, very separate everything was.
I
like that.
Well,
I just don't think I can't see Blade like again. I don't know. Again, I'm obviously gonna eat my words in a couple of years when they do team up with all of them.
Yeah,
but I don't see the tone. The worlds of Blade and the MCU are very, very different. I want to see what they're doing to MCUify, I guess. So that world
they have, and this is Sony pigeonholing this in because they can now still because of the deal. But Morbius is in the MCU. But Morbius doesn't look like any other MCU movie. If you watch the trailer, it's a whole different thing. Even though Spider-Man's in it or something.
It's a poster, yeah.
So I wonder, because Morbius is a vampire and Blade's coming out. I know they're separate, studios, but you would think it's a pretty obvious setup, especially if Blade's hunting vampires, to think that he'd be a good vampire for Blade to hunt. So I'm not sure how far, and I'm sure people are making a big deal over rated R and PG-13 because Marvel has never done a rated R anything,
right? Because
they want to make a lot of money for Disney. So I wonder if if Blade will be that movie, or if it's going to be just a PG-13 version of a vampire hunter.
PG-13 romp.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to have the death sequences that this movie has.
Definitely not.
How many people got split in half or had their head cut off in this, or stabbed in the heart?
That being said, Blade at the end of the day is a vampire hunter, so like they're going to have to expand and implement that into the MCU world.
I read for Blade 2 that in order for this movie to keep its rated R rating, they had to make the blood of the Reaper a different color. Because if it was red, it was going to be rated X. Like it was going to go past R, which is insane to me.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of where the Reaper blood comes out, but like I think there's one guy who, there's one guy who literally rips himself. He's nailed to a wall.
Yeah.
And he slices his like scrotum like to crawl upwards.
Oh, Jesus
Like
Christ.
in a weird like Exorcist like type of way. That was one of the creepiest scenes I've seen.
I wonder if that's also why even when he kills like Ron Perlman, I know they disintegrate in the lore of vampires, but I wonder if that's why they had those sequences happen very quickly too, because they couldn't just have
just a bunch of gore.
Yeah, they even went as far as to have Blade's love interest in the movie die in a sunset.
Yes,
like, I want to see the outside or something.
That also happened in 30 Days of Night as well too.
Yeah, that's like a great way to die.
A great way to die for a vampire.
But I'm excited for Blade in whatever iteration. I'm excited. I'm excited for Mahershala Ali to be Blade. I am interested in who they're going to hire or what the tone of the movie is or how much this is affected in the MCU. Because you're right, it's killing vampires, so you assume it is in the underbelly of some fucked up place.
It already throws you at your PG-13, like even just saying that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so like having to do. I mean, what are PG-13 vampire movies out right now? Like that would literally just be to the Twilight movies.
Or What We Do in the Shadows, like funny.
What We Do in the Shadows is, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, see, like, I don't know if you're going to take that.
Yeah. Sorry, it's fucking strong.
Yeah, you inhaled your own hand sanitizer.
But I think also there's a big part of the MCU where they want to make the movie like an analogy or a metaphor for something else. So I look forward to see what the metaphor for vampires will be in the MCU version. Like they're leaning into that. Like I don't think they'll just make a movie like this or like a movie where there's just a very clear there's a vampire, you have to kill him.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to
make something scientific.
Yeah. That's true. It's going to be grounded in science.
Right. Yeah. It's some virus that makes you suck blood and it just like,
or
it affected
alien vampires or something.
Or like otherworldly vampires, like Doctor Strange's like, multiverse thing will probably like
that's a great prediction.
That's a good way to put them in.
Yeah. We're talking about Doctor Strange multiverse. We're talking about Blade, and we're talking about Scarlet Witch, and they kind of lean more on the mythical dimension.
You're going to need to introduce a whole lot more like vampires and mutants, and like you're about to get a whole lot weirder in the Marvel universe for sure.
So that's exciting. A new chapter. I like that idea. I think they've already proven that the what are they calling it? The space stuff works well.
Yeah, the
cosmic stuff works well. So maybe this magic stuff works.
That's totally true. I mean, because the space stuff we're all on the fence on whenever.
Guardians, right?
Thor Guardians was announced. Like we were like, what? How's that going to work? Like because everything's so. The Avengers, the Avengers threw the grounded stuff out the window. I think at that point, anything's game. But again, like you're thinking, monsters in the and the mythical sense, like vampires and stuff, like coming in here, and you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, a whole race of vampires, and then of course, like we assume there's going to be X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, this world is starting to get really small. It's getting crowded here on Earth.
Crowded.
But cool. Yeah. Any final thoughts on Blade 2?
No, Blade 2 is the
Electric Boogaloo.
Blade 2 is the pinnacle of the Blade franchise. Everyone, if they haven't seen it, they should definitely give it a watch, especially if you're a fan of the Marvel Comics character, or if you're just a fan of Marvel in general. It's really cool to see that these were low budget Marvel movies before the big ones came out. I think it came out around the same time as the first Spider-Man movie did. This one, like the same year, I think, it was 2002. Yeah.
It was like almost like counter programming for that kind of superhero.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Andrew, any final thoughts?
Yeah, it was really good. I kind of didn't want to watch this movie because I knew it was going to be very dated, but it was actually, again, more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. It's got a pretty, I think, a sleeper cast. Like, I don't think if people were to watch this movie, they'd be like, damn, there's some good actors
I know all these
here.
people.
Yeah, and so I think it helped contribute to their journeys in their career path. But yeah, really good movie, really solid movie. It's really cool if you like kung fu movies, because it kind of turns into that when Wesley Snipes, I feel like, just likes to flex his
black belt. Like, he does train in that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like, that's why you see these other vampires fighting each other, but then you see Donnie Yen and Wesley Snipes fight people, and you're like, oh shit, like these guys are obviously wanting to showcase their talents. And so it's really cool in that sense too, even if you're not a comic book person or a comic person or a gory horror movie fan or whatever. But yeah, it's really cool. I think it's what the every blade that comes after has to measure itself up against.
This is the best one. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is.
Oh,
for
it
sure.
definitely is, yeah. Until the MCU one, possibly, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I think I like that Andrew brought up the point. Ron Perlman, Norman Reedus, and Donnie Yen are like staples in the genre film and TV pop culture franchise, and this is them all together with Wesley Snipes. So that's really special. And then it's directed by Guillermo Del Toro, who is also another staple in the genre film franchises. So I think it's a really a fun watch.
Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus are still working together today
Even
on
David
Death Stranding.
Goyer, like has a hand in most
Guillermo del
superhero.
Toro,
David Goyer, yeah, you're right.
Dark Knight.
and Ron Perlman still, and so it helped
it's crazy.
forge these friendships and relationships that have still
They're all
survived.
together. It's a mini Avengers in a way, I guess. Just as good.
Avengers of genre.
But yeah, and the other thing I want to say, it looks like, according to this, that Wesley Snipes. Oh, so first of all, the new Blade is not in Phase 4. It is much later than that.
Yeah, it's Phase 5.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Wesley Snipes would be in the movie. Apparently, he says that he has talked with Marvel about being in them. I don't know to what capacity.
I can see him being a Whistler or something.
Yeah.
Like a new version of Whistler. Like that would be really cool. That'd be a little homage.
Yeah, because Marvel doesn't really canonize older. Like Kevin Feige's very like, this is our own thing. Like this is different.
They do not want to.
So he's not going to be Blade.
Actually, I mean, well, he's probably eating those words because they're going to canonize Deadpool.
That's true. They are because it made money and Blade made money too.
Right,
so interesting. Yeah,
knows?
It's
Who
funny. We
knows?
just talked about Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible, but in a smaller way. Wesley Snipes also had a lot of ownership over Blade. So
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, who knows? Cool. All right. Well, what do you guys have to plug?
Nothing. Just listen to your. I know I say nothing and then just
And then
go
here.
Listen to all your Delphin Pod podcasts. Revenge of the Sequel, Countdown to Infinity, Countdown to Skywalker. Sitting Room.
We're podcasting a lot during the COVID-19 whatever we're calling this. What are we calling it? Pandemic or shut? What is it?
The pandemic, the quarantine, the shut in.
It's weird that this is something we're probably going to remember for a long time and tell our kids we went through. Isn't that weird? Because it's never
totally
happened.
true.
Huh. Unless it happens every year now or whatever.
Unless we don't make.
Or we don't have kids.
Yeah. So, do that. And then obviously, take care of yourselves, guys. Come on. Just wash your hands, stay home if you don't need to go out. Just take care of each other, really. And don't be hoarding stuff, especially toilet paper, because it's hard to get some toilet paper even on our end. So shit.
So shit less is what he meant.
Shit less.
Shit less, or maybe just wipe less.
Work hard and shit less.
Shit more, wipe less.
But also, in all seriousness, thanks for listening, and we hope to get you through this very difficult time that we're all going through.
Help get you through it.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Help get through it.
We're also developing a cure, me and Andrew. We haven't
trying.
started yet. We have to start medical school first.
Yeah, exactly. But that was postponed because of the
know.
virus.
But yeah, I agree with everything that John said. Listen to all the pods. We're releasing so many of them, some of them from behind the paywall to help get everyone through this time. If you're bored and just needing to listen or have something in the background, I've heard some people listen to our podcasts while they're watching their kids or trying to go to bed because we put them to sleep.
That's a good thing to do, guys.
But there's also a lot of our listeners who are quarantined. Probably, honestly, most of our listeners are probably quarantined.
I would hope so.
Anywhere in the world.
I would hope so.
But yeah, Andrew, what do you have to plug?
Nothing with all of you plugged for sure.
Vampires.
I am furloughed, and so you can't visit me at my workplace. So, non-essential is what they call me.
And meanwhile, I'm essential as fuck.
You are essential.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to have a letter saying that podcasting is essential. That way they let us,
Because they're going to arrest you before you get
I'm
done.
going to get arrested every time we record. Our studio is shut down. So.
Yes, that's awesome because there's a lot of people who go in there. And,
do you guys like Skype?
I do like Skype. I was actually going to ask you about how do we do this whenever whenever the level gets
the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, even more.
We can try it. I think last Monday I tried it with Randy and we couldn't really figure it out to a good quality. So I just drove over to his house and recorded.
And did it. Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get to that, but I assume we can do it. It's just, you have a recorder.
Yeah, we do have a
I might leave. You know what I'll do
we
today?
can do like a Dropbox thing where we can just like kind of record.
Because that's my problem with Skype is just the audio quality is really
It
bad.
sucks, yeah. And then if we do the thing what we did with Kaufman a couple of years ago, like
delay, the echo.
yeah, it's a delay, and we have to call in to each other. Technically, you know
I think
like,
what we could do is Skype just so we can talk to each other. But if you have a recorder, actually record the audio via that,
and then you mix it.
and then we mix it later.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, well, guys, we figured that out.
That actually, I mean, well, yeah, we figured that out right.
I'll
on
record
the
at
air.
home. You record here.
But that's really funny because you look like you're like that's daunting.
I think we should try
a little
it.
bit. We can definitely try it.
We're not sick right now, so I think this may be sustainable for a little bit longer, up until martial law and
Oh yes.
all that stuff. But hey, guys, we'll see you later.
Later, guys. Stay
Adios.
safe.
Bye.